welcome back to the United Show. It's episode number 2, lads. Season 2, episode 2. How are you all doing, lads?
Doing good, mate. Doing good.
Yeah.
That's good. A lot to talk about this week. I mean, so let's start off with Rafael Varane. He is finally landed in Manchester. The deal is nearly done. Obviously, he will have to quarantine first, and then obviously he'll sign the deal. So we'll start with Ciaran. How big of a deal is this? I mean, we're finally getting a world-class centre-back with, good old Slabhead. So what's your opinions on it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you told me even at the end of last season, which was the first kind of COVID season, that we would be signing Varane and have Varane in our starting 11 at this point, I would have laughed at you, to be honest, because I would never have thought that Varane would want to leave Madrid, especially to come to us. But here we are. And it's a glorious situation, to be honest. Obviously, with Sancho coming in as well, it's really just put United fans in a good mood. Obviously, the is that he probably won't be able to play against Leeds. Ollie said he might be in contention to play, but to me, the fact that he's not going to get any pre-season minutes against Everton tomorrow, I would like to see him in that first game of the season. But in the end of the day, in terms of the whole context of the season, it's an amazing signing, really. And I'm just happy that it's all getting done. Obviously, there was all that rubbish about his visa and stuff like that, and what was going on with that. Obviously, that's been sorted. So yeah, it's just good to finally get that moving, get that transfer going, and finally get it through. And hopefully, he gets training with the lads after his quarantine, and we get to see him on the pitch as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he'll have to beg, Sir Philip Jones for the number 4 shirt, or do you think he'll give it to him nicely?
Listen, I'd be happy to rip it off his back himself, off myself. Listen, at the end of the day, Phil Jones has been a servant to the club. No matter what people say, he's been a servant. He's got a testimonial lined up, I'm sure.
He's not done the job for fucking free. He's been paid a lovely amount of money.
Yeah, but his greatness. He's worth it.
Exactly. He's had multiple offers from world-class clubs. He's turned them down. He's stayed at Old Trafford, and he should get that testimonial. He should get it. But obviously, all jokes aside, I think Varane should get that number 4 shirt. We should be looking to the future. And I wouldn't mind seeing Phil Jones kind of, if he wanted to leave the club and get some even more actual game time in the Premier League. I actually think that potentially for a lower league Premier League club he could do a job. Now maybe that's me being ridiculous, but I actually think for a lower league Premier League club he wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, for me, Rafael Varane get the number 4 shirt. It's a pretty simple decision for me.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I mean, yeah, like you said, you're right. I mean, to be fair, Derby would kind of love him at the moment the way they are, and to be fair, but
true.
Even though Wayne Rooney kind of fucked up one of his own players, but no. Look, Niall. So talk about Varane. How good of a deal is this for United, especially the fridge and freezer are finally not together anymore.
You got to ask yourself the key question: is he quicker than Lindelof? Yes. Is he better in the air than Lindelof? Yes. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it's a fantastic signing. You still haven't got a DM though. And that'd be a concern. McFred. That is the biggest crime. That is the biggest crime in football I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah.
And you have got to remember, I have watched my team in League 2 with no money. And not even that created the biggest crime in football. The biggest crime in football is having all of this money and still, for the love of God, playing Fred and McTominay. Like, why in God's green earth would anyone look at that midfield and go, that could win us the title? Compare that to some of the midfields we see. Is it better than City? Is it fuck? Is it better than Liverpool? Is it fuck? Is it better than Chelsea? Is it fuck? Is it better than Villa? Is it fuck? I could go on, and probably the only team it's better is Norwich, Brentford, and Newcastle, and maybe Watford. I think everyone else has a better midfield than you lot. That is embarrassing. Go get yourself a midfielder, and you might actually have a chance. But until then, You've still got McFred. Now, if you want to disband McFred, and I don't know, I did it. Something which is playing off as them. I thought that was hysterical. I actually cried with hysterical laughter when I read that, because he's not even physically able to handle centre back. Imagine putting him in the DM, mate. He's getting pushed over the ball by fucking everyone. Like, what sort of guard would you like him for? The thing with the DM right now, you have got like, what's the best way to describe? Right now, you sort of got like a little hill, which is a bit of a pain to get over, but if you put enough work into it, you can just get over it. You put Lindelof in there, that is a wooden gate that is broken. It's a wooden gate that is wobbling like shit. That is Lindelof as a DM. Liverpool have like a brick wall with Fabinho. That you currently have a little hill, but there's talks you want to move it to a garden gate that's wobbling. Make that make sense.
Okay. So we'll go through some comments first and foremost. Owen, thank you so much for watching, mate. Ciaran is here, and thankfully he is here. Max saying one title behind United with 19 and Liv with 6 UCLs. Yeah, so your point is what? Do you know what I mean? Big up lads, Varane landed, took a while. Ha ha ha.
Fucking easily triggered or what?
No, I'm not triggered. I'm just saying it's funny how it took 30 years to win your Premier League. But anyway, this transfer window has not been good for our fans. Think Sancho deal could have been done last window. I mean, that's United for you, mate. Varane is an amazing deal. We need a midfielder though. We will get onto that eventually, okay? No DM, no party. We'll talk about that. 2011-2016, Jones was very good. I mean, look, he's the same amount of Premier Leagues as Liverpool, lads. Fight me. Anyway, right, so we're going to move on. We're going to talk about a certain player who is recently just getting surgery now. He's just waiting on a surgeon. Marcus Rashford. He'll be back in October. So like I said, our first few games are very good. Like I said, we have a very, very easy start. We have Leeds, we have Southampton, we have Wolves, Newcastle, and West Ham. All right, which, to be fair, as an opening five, that is a dream opening five. All right, for me, I think that
ideally, but you struggled against every single one of them fuckers last year.
Yeah,
you drew it way against. Hold on. You drew against Leeds. Rashford saved you against Wolves with a moment of pure madness. West Ham, you won 1-0 through an own goal. I mean, who else did you say?
Listen now.
Hold on. Who else did you say? Who else did you?
Southampton.
Okay, that one should be. Okay, that one's a bit easier.
Newcastle.
The other one?
Newcastle.
Okay, yeah. So 4 of them are quite difficult, and 2 of them are a bit walking
okay, look. Last season, we did not have Raphael Varane, who's a 4-time UCL winner and also a multiple-time La Liga winner. Also,
that wasn't your fucking issue last year. You don't know.
No, but listen. But we also have Jadon Sancho on our right side, who's a proper right winger who'll help Aaron Wan-Bissaka next season. So
surely, you can make surely on the start of the season he'll be playing on the left.
I don't know about that, but we'll see how it goes. Like I said, Ollie's in charge; he makes the rules, and we'll see how he puts it. Really, you know what I mean?
Well, hold on.
But we will talk about the line. We'll talk about the lineups later on. Okay, now's not the time for a lineup. Okay, now's not the time. Anyway, we move swiftly on. So, like I said, Rashi comes back in October, and roughly, I think it's a perfect time for us because we started probably one of the roughest times for us. Like I said, our run from October. So October 2nd, we take on Everton, right? Obviously, new boss, Rafa in charge. Then on the 16th, we have Leicester, Liverpool on the 24th, Tottenham on the 30th. 6th of November, we have Man City. We have the easiest tie. 2 weeks after that, we have the easy tie of Watford on the 20th. 27th of November, we got Chelsea. Arsenal, we have on the 30th of November. And the 4th of December we have Crystal Palace. And like Ciaran, we'll start obviously with the way our matches are lined up. How rough of a period is that for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I mean, the start of October to the end of November. Jesus,
Yeah, it hasn't been kind to us there, to be fair, and the draw hasn't fallen for us really. But I mean, in some ways, obviously the glass half full sort of idea. Like you could argue that if we get a lot of our hard games done in one stretch of games, which means that obviously towards the end we're still going to have some difficult games, but there'll be other teams fighting for that, hopefully fighting for top spot, hopefully, who will have like a worse stretch of games towards the end of the season, and then it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. So at the end of the day, if we can finish strong, we have a pretty simple period towards the end of the season. We can negate all those difficult games there, but at the same time, if we do end up going on a bit of a bad streak, we can kind of be out of the title race by November. That's the only worry. So it can fall for you kind of. It's all about how we play in those games, really. It sounds pretty simple, but if we just get the job done, if we actually employ what we've been doing in big games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because actually we've had a pretty decent record. I know last season we drew a lot of games, but we do actually keep quite a few clean sheets against the top six. So if we can actually just put the ball in the back of the net against these teams, we should be fine. We should be absolutely fine. But that is a period where probably in some games it's going to have to be batten down the hatches and take a point. But we just need to get to the other side of those games still in contention, and then we'll be right up there for the title.
I mean, that's a fair enough point. I mean, we'll go to Niall. Like I said, that period, I've said the games from start of October to the end of November. A tough run of games, but can we get a lot of points from it now, do you think?
See, I disagree. I think he had a pure orgasm when he saw that, because he was like, fuck me, counter-attack football. Right, boys, this is what we do. So we get back and we hit on the break. Varane, sit on the bench, you're not quick enough. That's probably what he did. He probably had a full-blown erection when he saw that. Now, in all seriousness, Ciaran summed it up pretty much perfectly, which is, it could be quite tricky, but you've got fully fit Rashford coming back then.
Exactly.
Fully fit Rashford don't sound too bad. Fully fit Rashford with that pace. I mean, you haven't seen fully fit Rashford. Well, RJ, I'm not even sure you were alive when Rashford was last fully fit. So, it's been that long. You probably didn't even have a. Last time Rashford was fully fit, he probably didn't have the beard. So,
more than likely.
I think that's going to be important. And I mean. A front three of Rashford, fully fit Rashford, Sancho, probably Cavani or Greenwood coming on. I mean, fresh Greenwood as well. He's had a bit of summer where he hasn't been shagging too many Icelandic girls, so I'm sure he's in tip-top condition. He's not had that issue. Ollie has probably kept him very close to home and been like, don't leave my side, get to bed. Because he had them bags under his eyes. He really struggled. So Ollie's probably put him on a leash and been like, bedtime now. Like, probably gone full blown like father mode, which is get to bed now, you little shit. But no, I think if you can also injuries. Obviously, if you get an injury to Maguire, you're a little less fucked now. Because you do have Varane, but without Varane, if you had an injury to Maguire coming out, fuck my life, you'd need counselling after that. So,
I'll need more than that, to be fair. I'll need more than that.
Yeah, I mean, hardcore drugs is available if you ask the right person. So, I think it's tough, but you should go in with confidence, because realistically, with the team you've got now, if you could get a DM, I know that's a big if for United, but if you could, and you keep Pogba, sign him down to a new deal, get a DM, you genuinely might actually have a team where you can compete with one. So, because you ask yourself, if you get like a Neves, or I think Rice has now been priced completely out of the question, but I think if you can get a sort of deep line playmaker to do that holding role, you then compare a midfield of, let's just say Neves, just for the pure shits of it. You then say a 4-3-3 with your midfield being Neves, Bruno, Pogba. Who's telling me that isn't the best midfield in the Premier League?
No
one can tell me that isn't the best Premier League. So, and then you look a little bit further forward and you see a Sancho, you see a fully fit Rashford, you then see the experience of Cavani with the lethal touch of a Greenwood, who I think those two are going to rotate a lot this year. I think Martial should go over to the left. He's not a striker. I just wanted to emphasise that again. Dan James probably goes to right with. I think Ollie actually wants to loan out Amad Diallo, which I think is mad, but quite a bit of game time for Amad wouldn't be a bad shout. So I think if he does it like that, but doesn't put Martial up front and really lets Greenwood and Cavani work that between the two of them, because Greenwood is young enough. He's also good enough to get game time against a Watford or Norwich or Brentford. Right, realistically, Greenwood should be able to start with them. And look, if shit isn't quite going to plan and you're still drawing, you can always bring him off and put on Cavani. You have got that ability now to rotate them forward players. Martial can come in on the left-hand side as well for Rashi. Then you can play Dan James when you're playing Leeds and Man City. So you have got that rotation ability there available to you. I suppose the question is Ollie going to use it? You've also got Donny, who is also, might I add, looking like the fucking Hulk right now. I mean, I think someone should do a drug test on that twat, because he's definitely... him and Greenwood went, oh, this is the picture when I first started going to the gym. Here's my gym routine. Because Greenwood had that. He had that, didn't he, during lockdown, when he first broke into the scene, he was like a fucking twig that you could probably just push over, and it was like, oh, he's on the floor. And then you sort of came back after lockdown, and you were like, fuck me, he's got a bit of muscle behind him now. So, yeah, I think rotation is going to be key, but Ollie needs to use that rotation. Look at Bruno, for example. He was fucking dead on his ass at the end of last season. So, whilst Ciaran said, obviously, about sort of having the easier games towards the end of the season, if your players are burnt out anyway, they're not easy games. So, you know... Rotation is king. Rotation is king.
I do agree. Like I said, and we do have the squad depth for it. Like, people will not say that we don't have a good squad. We do have a good squad depth. Like, really, we do. Yeah. So, like I said, I'll base it off. Ciaran, you can help out as well. We'll go through all the players that we have. We'll say the squad depth, right? So, goalkeeper, we have De Gea, Henderson, and Heaton in goals, right? And maybe Lee Grant, maybe Carabao Cup, you never know. Fucking throw him.
How many goalkeeping injuries are you expecting to have?
I mean, you expect the unexpected and don't end up like Liverpool FC like last season. Of course. Left back, we have Luke Shaw and Telles. Telles will be back, and this is what we do need to understand. Telles will be back for October. He'll be fully fit again. I mean, look, his crosses with Edson Cavani second season and probably a bit of madness.
I thought he was back in September.
He can be, yeah, but like I said, I don't think he'd be starting until October, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Because like Shaw does have a broken rib, but he can play through that. Like, he's a fucking warrior.
Are you having to keep Brandon Williams as sort of emergency left back cover for August then, and let him go in the window?
I'd rather have him as a backup right back. Right. Anyway, we'll talk about it. So centre backs: Slabhead, Varane, Lindelof, and Bailly, and then we're apparently letting go of Tuanzebe on a loan, which I think is the best idea, personally. We have Mengi as well, who'd be probably the fifth choice. I mean, not bad, but I mean, he can start Carabao Cups with Lee Grant and all those other shit bastards. I'm just saying how it is. Wan-Bissaka, Dalot, and Williams. Williams can't play on the left, but like I said, when I saw him against Brentford in the pre-season, he looked so lost. It was incredible.
I think isn't Dalot going to Milan?
Apparently they don't want him. Apparently that's why I was told.
No. Milan really want him. You're mistaken. I mean, Milan are putting.
Yo. If they want them, take him. Fuck it. I'll fucking pay for his flight.
No, they want him on a loan.
I would want to go back as well.
They want him on loan with an option to buy, not an obligation.
What's up, DC? How you doing? And he says, okay, like shit like this, mate. I'm just happy Grealish left. I'm only messing. I'm only messing.
You harsh.
Okay, so midfield. Oh, life is tough. All right, it's okay. No, all right. So midfield, like I said, for me,
you haven't even got a first choice DM yet. So
who would Ciaran? Who would you start as a CDM? Like with the way we are right now, how would you do it?
Well, there is a theory going about. Obviously, you mentioned Van der Beek, getting a bit bigger. Van der Beek could fill in that role. Is Ollie priming Van der Beek for that role?
Oh, yo, please! I bet.
I'm just saying, as a theory, because he brought him in last season. He didn't really have a role for him.
He's gone from an attacking central midfielder to a defensive mid at Old Trafford.
It's just a theory. It's just a theory.
But because of how bonkers it sounds, that's almost guaranteed to happen.
Yeah, I mean the way he is.
I mean, on paper, Pogba, Fernandes, and Van der Beek doesn't sound too bad to me, but it's just the balance there.
Like, if it works, it can be a really good midfield. But that's the thing. If it works, we don't know if it would really work.
It depends. It depends on how comfortable Varane is without having any cover on that side.
Oh, he's used to that.
As if what? I mean, you could do it, but it's a very attacking midfield. I'll give you that. You've got two people who can progress the ball brilliantly. A double pivot of Pogba and Van der Beek is insanely shit. That is shithousery at its best, but defensively there is no cover. That's why if you do that, you're going to really have to hope Varane and Maguire hit it off really quickly, so that because there is going to be a lot of people coming through that midfield, guaranteed, because there isn't that sort of defensive acumen. In fact, there's no defensive acumen.
We cannot play it against Chelsea. We're not making the same mistake as Pep in that Champions League final. And N'Golo Kante eats 7.
No, but you probably could, because that midfield, Chelsea can't really go for it, can they? Because if they do, that midfield three are going to kill you. Especially if Pogba, arguably one of the greatest long ball passers there is, picks a pass for a Sancho or a Rashford who is running. And my God, so if you overcommit and you try and exploit the Yam got a DM, you're going to get fucked that way, because that front three with that midfield attacking mid, whatever you want to call them, are going to destroy you. You're basically playing with 6 attackers. So they can't overcommit even if you don't play with a DM. It just means against teams like Watford, they should probably start praying to Jesus now, because they're going to need it.
Yeah, I mean, so then look, we have McTominay, we have Fred, we have Matic, Mata. They're all bench players. They'll all be bench players, realistically.
Has Garner gone out on loan? Has Garner gone out on loan somewhere? Is he still there?
Not yet, but I think he will. He's going back to Forest, I believe, maybe. So
yeah,
I mean, that's
that makes sense.
I said. And I do believe if he goes back to Forest, I think Forest may go up this year. So fingers crossed off the Forest. Brilliant. Big up Brando. Anyway, so then our front three, obviously, our main three would be Rashi, Cavani, and Sancho.
Yep.
We'd have Dan James, our one and only Sonic the Hedgehog. Greenwood, Ice Cold Martial, who's bald.
I don't think you're going to have a main striker. I think them two are going to be. I think them two are going to be extremely fluid. I think I think Ollie will look at them two and go, whoever's performing. I don't think you've got a first choice striker this year.
But that's the thing now.
I just don't think.
Go on, sorry.
You haven't got a first choice striker. I think Ollie.
Well, I never said that.
Well, no.
I said the strongest one would be Cavani.
I disagree. Because there are elements. No, there's elements that Greenwood has got that Cavani doesn't. So One minute, Greenwood is much more clinical with both feet. He's 2-footed.
No.
Cavani doesn't. 1 minute. RJ, listen before you start having a meltdown like a fucking pussy.
Yeah, what you're saying is
right, RJ, take off the ballerina outfit and calm down. Right? If it gets too bad, get a sausage roll and enjoy. Right. All I will say, Cavani's not 2-footed. So what does Greenwood have over him? He's 2-footed. Cavani is not 2-footed. Right. And do you want to know how many defenders get put on their ass when you play against a 2-footed player who's strong with both feet? Because if you try and guess which side he's going and you get that wrong, guess what? You've really fucked up, because he's going to shoot, and that keeper 9 out of 10 times is not getting that ball anywhere near the bottom of the net. Do you want to ask Andy Robertson how that went? Do you really want to ask him how that goes if you get the wrong side of Greenwood? Do you want to ask him what happens? Because the last time that happened, he had to scream at him in the opportunity that put Greenwood off, which, FYI, it did not. So, also, Greenwood has got stamina. Cavani is getting older. That is clear. So, Greenwood is going to have the stamina to, pull defenders apart. He is naturally, because he is naturally younger, he's got that more natural fitness. So, he's going to have that. A few knocks, he'll bounce back a bit better than Cavani. So, I don't think you've got a main striker. I think Cavani is getting to that age where he is deteriorating. I'm not saying he's a bad player, mind you, because you all know how highly I rate Greenwood, which I do. I think right now you're sat here with one really good experienced player with one really fucking good generational talent, to which, guess what? They're basically almost at the same level. Don't forget, Greenwood had one of his worst starts of the season with everything he went through. You are about to see Mason Greenwood with an entire summer where Ollie definitely told him not to go to England. Definitely told him there was no injury. There was no injury of talk. Ollie definitely learned that from someone called Alex Ferguson, who it was probably Fergie that told Greenwood not to go. Knowing Fergie, probably looked from the stands all year and went, nah, fuck that. Right, Mason, yeah. You need to sit at home and play FIFA, not go to the Euros. You need to chill. Like, it's that. So that's my there. Are you gonna have a hissy fit now, RJ?
I'm not gonna have hissy, but I'm going to prove my point, right? So you're talking about Greenwood. Obviously, he had a bad start to the Premier League. You look at it in Cavani. He was a free agent for about 6 months before signing with United. So meaning no club football for about 6 months, right? He got let go by PSG and got signed to the last day of the transfer window. He came in, right, and he had a madness start against Southampton, right? So let's be real. He had a very good start. And like I said, you said he's old. Yeah, he was old, but he got more goals than Greenwood last season. Take that in consideration. Take in consideration he's never been in the Premier League before, and he's got double digit figures.
Don't give me that. He's 36. He's 36 years old. Okay, he's arguably one of the greatest. Hold on, he's one of the greatest midfield. He's one of the greatest strikers ever to have graced Europe. He doesn't need time to adapt. It's fucking Cavani.
Still, he's been in leagues like Ligue 1 and Serie A. That's the only leagues he's been part of.
You're right. The Champions League is. You're completely right. The Champions League is so.
But he's never won the Champions League. He's never been in a Champions League side who've actually done well.
Okay, so if the requirement is you have to. If the requirement is you have to win it, we'll go through your team and we'll see how many of them won a Champions League.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying no. Over the entirety of his career, right? He's never been in a league like the Premier League. No one outside has until they actually feel it. Like I said, that's why Messi will never go to the Prem. I'm just saying that now because
you do realise that the Premier League is also the weakest it was last year because there's no fans. Regardless, well, obviously there's a reason for that, but we won't talk about that. Regardless, so let's look at. So you talked about how good Greenwood is, right? Let's talk how Cavani is. With 2 feet.
With
2 feet.
Yeah, one of the most lethal strikers with his positioning. Has the best positioning in the league. No one can deny that. You could see him against Aston Villa when I think it was Rashi crossed it in. Header back in the post, simple as that. I
also remember the peach of a ball that Greenwood was taught to put on Cavani's head against Spurs. I do wonder who taught Greenwood that. Do you not think you saw improvement of Greenwood towards the end of the season?
I never said that.
I don't know. The more so what Cavani did was Cavani started teaching Greenwood. There's a lot of what Greenwood was doing was Cavani's work because I suppose the advantage of Greenwood playing on the right with Cavani up front is naturally everyone knows that Greenwood is going to have that spot up front. But what does having someone like Cavani, who is demanding, he ain't going to take none of this shit of, oh, sorry, I can see you. Cavani's just probably, I'm guessing he's Uruguayan, so he's probably going to headbutt the shit out of you if you try and bullshit him. So I think having him going, this is where I want the ball, and all of that, that naturally helps Greenwood. Because what did we see Greenwood do? What was one of the first things he's ever done at a senior level? Score with his head. Brighton. Header goal.
Yeah.
Where do you he's never done that sort of movement. There's the one thing with Greenwood that I've always said, especially before sort of Cavani came. Every time he got put into the middle, kept drifting all around the place, like going out fucking wide. If I'm Ollie, I'm like, get yourself back into that centre mid now, like right now, get centre, be ready. And you saw towards the end of the season, Wood started being more central. He started staying where he was meant to be, which is something Cavani obviously taught him. So I just don't think you've necessarily got a dominant striker. I think you've just got two ridiculously good strikers who are benefiting off each other. I think Greenwood's youthfulness is probably keeping Cavani quite young, and I think Cavani's experience is potentially putting a bit of wise head on Greenwood, because he did somewhat need it.
No, I understand what your points were, and I'm just stating that. Look, I would rather have Cavani next season than Greenwood, just because
it's
of what
he's
Cavani
English,
offers.
Isn't it?
My God, you enjoy
agenda against the English. You enjoy agendas.
Listen.
I'm surprised
I prefer Cavani. No, I prefer Cavani because, like I said, last season, no one expected us to do well. Right? Oh, shut up! Like,
hold on, speak for yourself, mate. I expected Cavani to rip up the league, to which he did.
Yeah, no, look, I didn't expect that much, and he proved me wrong. Rightfully so, he proved me wrong. I thought he was.
Are you new to football?
No,
didn't expect Cavani to do well.
No, listen. He came from PSG, right? Who literally did not use him because they used Icardi for like 18 months, right? He had no game time, no nothing like that. He was dropped from the squad, was not playing for 6 months, joined us, and then we were like, I'm sorry, not just joined us. He joined us on the last day of the summer. He could
be playing Sunday League. It's Cavani. He's ripping shit up.
Still, yes, like I said, I was wrong. But I now, like I said, we are.
Did you not look at that face and go, okay, maybe he wears something on his face, probably because of a scratch or something, or I don't know why he wears that plaster on his face, but he genuinely looks like he's been dragged out, especially when he's playing. He looks like he's been dragged out of a bush sideways, fucking all over the place. But that's what you want, because he's absolutely brilliant. Cavani is. I love Cavani. I've watched him. Obviously, I've watched him in the Champions League multiple times. Cavani is an absolute baller. So anyone who didn't think Cavani was coming to the Premier League to rewrite the rule book, more for you, because you clearly are either new to football or dumb as fuck, because you should have known with Cavani he meant business. I mean, he did.
Look, I was wrong, but like I said, he was very injury prone.
You were very wrong.
We were getting,
apologize to. You need to apologize to Mr. Edison Cavani right now.
If he's watching.
He's watching. He's watching with Greenwood card. I still don't think Cavani understands English, and Greenwood's going, yeah, you got my sweets, mate.
We'll sing a song. We'll sing a song for him. He'll understand.
How about Sour?
We're going to talk on to our next one. Any more arrivals? So, like I said, Manchester United, there's rumours that we're not signing any more players, sadly. But there's two rumours that we could potentially get. So, obviously, there are Neves and also Trippier. Now, Ciaran, in order, would you say Neves is more important, or would you say Trippier is more important?
Listen, for me, the midfield is the priority. It has to be the priority. So in that way, yeah, Neves would be definitely priority over Trippier, because Trippier would really be only coming in. I mean, depending on how you see it, but he'd only really be coming in as like a backup to Wan-Bissaka. I feel like. I mean, some people. Trippier would be coming in as a backup to Wan-Bissaka. He surely agree with that.
He would be.
Surely. I don't know. Does he get another Wan-Bissaka?
Get your like.
It really depends on what sort of Wan-Bissaka we're seeing. Because we're seeing do you know what? I think Varane is crucial. Because if we still see Wan-Bissaka man marking Varane more times than being a right back, then I think Trippier starts over him. But I think if Varane speaks English, which is a positive because you can tell Wan-Bissaka to fuck off. He doesn't need babysitting. Probably something that Lindelof can do, because maybe Lindelof genuinely did need babysitting. But how many times did you see a ball go in and then someone attack it from the right, left-hand side for them, your right? Because
true.
Wan-Bissaka was out of position. I mean, it was Leipzig, wasn't it? So, yes, I think on paper, Trippier comes in as a backup. But if you start to see these errors from Wan-Bissaka still happening, when he hasn't got an excuse, because they're always the excuses that have been labelled next to him. Oh, he's got Lindelof next to him, or he's got Greenwood further forward, who's not a natural winger. Well, he's got Sancho in front of him and Varane next to him. He's got the players there. He needs to do his job now. So, for me, yes, on paper, Trippier does come in as a backup. But I really don't think Wan-Bissaka's position is sort of nailed on. I think right now Wan-Bissaka's blue tacked on, and that can be taken off quite easily if needs be, because I really think this season is crucial. I like Wan-Bissaka, one of the best one-on-one defenders in the world, but his positioning needs looking at. Hopefully with a Varane next to him, and I think the key bit is Varane speaks English, right, fluently. Right, not like Spurs, who have just signed Romero, who doesn't speak a word of English and is currently learning the first phrase of "fuck off, Eric Dyer." That is his first phrase. I can confirm he has asked his English teacher to teach him how to say "fuck off, Eric Dyer, you're shit." So I think having Varane who speaks fluently English, and heck, even with Sancho who is English, maybe that helps Wan-Bissaka, because there's no excuses now. Where's the excuses? You've got that experience in front of him. You've got that experience, but sort of next to him. Yeah. Both of them speak your language. There's no excuse now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'd like to say you do have to take into consideration he's now finally got a right winger now ahead of him. You do see last season. Look at Trent Alexander-Arnold last season. When Salah wasn't playing that right winger position, he was out of order. He was not the same player that he was. Right? It really depends on the squad you have.
My issue with Wan-Bissaka isn't him going forward. I've always known he's not much of a forward playing right back. It is not how he plays.
But he did have a good campaign last season going forward. It was just his position last season.
It was all right. I wouldn't say his numbers were anything to shout home about.
It was better. He's getting better. You can see improvements.
Yeah, of course there was an improvement. You did see a lot of the sort of the intricate play with your wing back and your sort of inside forward on the left hand side with Shaw and Rashi. You did see that. I do agree. Wan-Bissaka's not really. People compare Wan-Bissaka with Trent, which is just stupid, because they're not the same player. Wan-Bissaka, for me, I don't know if you two agree. Wan-Bissaka for me is more of a fullback than a wing back. I don't really think he's a wing back, because I don't think he offers enough going forward. He's not really very good at crossing the ball, and he doesn't really offer too much going forward. So I think that's where your imbalance has been. Your balance has been way out, because you've got Shaw and Rashi, who are brilliant on that left-hand side, yet you've not had that person who can get that ball in the box like Shaw. You know that if he's running down that left, he can cross a ball with his eyes closed. He can do that easily. Who was doing that on the right-hand side? Greenwood was towards the end of it, sort of getting to the byline and putting the ball in for Cavani, but that wasn't really something he was doing, was it? And you certainly wasn't getting that from Wan-Bissaka. So I think if you do bring in a Trippier, you could argue it offers you more of a balance, because Trippier is more of a wing back than a full back. I don't know if you guys agree, but it's a weird one.
Yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think our last best attacking right back was, correct me if I'm wrong, was Antonio Valencia, if I'm not wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head who else was it was good. When you look at him, he always went forward, and if he ever took the strike, God forbid, that's going top right corner.
Do you think that's more because he started off as a right winger?
Yeah, converted winger.
I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure he started his life at United as a right winger.
Wan-Bissaka started as a right mid at Crystal Palace, but he got converted.
True, that's true.
Don't forget that.
That's the question I've got. How the fuck did they ever see Wan-Bissaka as a right winger? Because he doesn't have that. He hasn't got that cross on him. Am I seeing some sort of different Wan-Bissaka to everyone else? Because I'm not seeing a winger. I'm not.
No, I'm not either. But I'm seeing like we do need that type of diversity in our team. Where, like I said, yes, I understand. We need like Shaw to go forward. We do want Wan-Bissaka to go forward, but I think it's all a learning process. Wan-Bissaka is still, I think he's 23 right now, right? So rightfully so. We can say we can give him another 10 years in the Premier League.
I'd argue Trippier is actually quite crucial for you bringing in.
I think so too.
It's mad because look at the improvement you've seen with Greenwood in that sort of forward position. Do you not think that you'd get the same with right back? No, do you not?
I was going to compare him to Telles. How he improved.
No, I think
if it wasn't for Telles, we would not see the shot right now. I think you would. I just think it took Shaw. No. Think about this logically, right? Yes. He came back from a double leg break, to which that is very rare to even come back from. Yeah. Add the fact that he nearly lost it with blood clots. Mentally, he's fucked after that. The mentality for him to come back and then he has Jose fucking Mourinho, who for some weird reason does not like that cunt. Does not like him at all, right? He's sat there chatting shit saying Chilwell is the best left. Fuck off, Mourinho. You know nothing. Go to Italy, go eat that pizza and fold it up and shove it up your ass. And make sure it's got pineapple on it, you can. I think you look at Shaw and then he did get them niggly injuries. Because it took him a while to get that strength back in him, right? Yeah. You think he lost all of his strength in that leg. Like he couldn't use it, could he? What sort of weight exercises can he be doing? What sort of weight exercises can he be realistically doing when he's got bloody 2 broken bones in his leg? Nothing holding his leg up. So he can't do any weights on it. So he's lost all of his strength in his leg, right? So how do niggly injuries happen? Well, it happens when your body isn't quite fit enough or able enough to do what you're doing. It was completely normal for Shaw to get all of those injuries. Majorly normal. Telles, he's offered that competition. This wasn't down to Telles, though. This was down to Luke Shaw's ability to continue to come and fight back, and also Ollie's belief in him. And I think that's the key bit. It's Ollie's backing, not Telles. Yes, Telles would have offered the competition, but he had that competition with Brandon at the end of the season anyway. Oh, come on.
No, at the end of that season. No, at the end of that season, in his breakout season, Brandon he did a very good job.
Oh yeah, I mean, the season where he missed a 5-yard fucking stutter and the fucking
his breakout season, Ollie himself and everyone was very impressed with Brandon. He was, so he did have an element of that competition. The thing is, I think it's really disrespectful to Luke Shaw to sit here and say without Telles he would not be where he is today. I think that is incredibly disrespectful and actually barbarically shocking, because I think it's more... I love that. I think it's more Ollie's belief in him and the never giving up attitude that Luke Shaw has developed. Because you go through all of that, you do pick up all of those injuries, but to continue to come back fighting, and he's still only 25. I think you forget his age sometimes, right? He joined United at the age of 18. He's been through so much in one career that he's now come back flying, and he is the reason he is there today. Not Telles, not Mourinho. It's him and Ollie. And you are a disgrace. And I hope you get relegated.
So Ollie's belief is like a magical wand. There you go. You're a world-class left back.
Hold on. So you're saying what? So if your manager, so compare the two Shaws we saw. So Mourinho had absolutely no faith in Shaw at all. So what type of Luke Shaw? What type of Luke Shaw did you get? You got a pretty shit one because he's low on mentality's obviously going to be gone. If you don't have the faith in your manager, you're probably thinking, well, what's the fucking point? When Ollie came in and was like, no, I believe in Luke Shaw. I'm going to stick with Luke Shaw. I'm not replacing him. He will come through this. Yeah. Having that's an extra bit to keep you going. That's that when you have that backing of someone that drives you on.
But then now, if that was the case, why did we sign Tellez? Why did we?
Oh, because if Luke Shaw got another injury, then you needed backup. It was quite clear why you signed Tellez. Well, yes. Well, would you like to see Brandon Williams a left back for United if Luke? Well, no, RJ, I'll ask you a question. Would you like to see Brandon Williams as backup to Luke Shaw at United?
Fuck no. No,
right-footed Brandon Williams?
Listen. You look at Tellez, right? He is people will say what they want. But in that Portuguese league, he was an absolute beast, right? People will not look at him and say,
I could look good in the Portuguese league. I'm quite a fat bastard.
Listen. That Portuguese league was very tough for him and also his club as well, right? Now, you need to take in consideration, we got him on a cheap deal, right? It was. Okay, well, you can say what it was, but it was, right? Tellez joined us, right, to become the number one left back for Manchester United. He did. He wanted to, and that's what his plan was. Newsflash.
Ollie never.
Luke Shaw.
I bet
lost us because of it.
Nah. Ollie never, ever was replacing Luke Shaw. Never. Yes. That you could tell. You could easily tell that was never the plan. The plan was to always get a competent. No, the plan is if you get an injury. Who are you replacing Luke Shaw with, right? Because at that time he was a bit injury prone, and he was, sidelined quite a bit. So Ollie's there thinking, "Fuck, I do need a bit of depth there." I think he went out into the market and went, I need to get a competent left back who can challenge, but ultimately knows his place, which is he is second choice. Because Tellez is second choice. There's no doubt about it. His defensive abilities are fucking horrific. His him going forward, for me, Tellez ain't a left back. He's a left winger because his defensive abilities are fucking near on shocking. But you could say wing back if you want, but he's more of a left winger because his defensive abilities are fucking woeful. I mean, would you like me to retake you back to the Roma game away? No. Would you like to have a little think about what Alex Tellez was doing defensively in that game? Didn't he have to get yanked off for Luke Shaw because right at that point your defence resembled something that I can only imagine what I would have seen in League Two?
Anyway, we'll move forward, right? Okay, so we've
I win.
We'll move forward.
Thank you.
Nah, shut up. We're going to go to a final topic, and this one's going to be very, very interesting.
3 for me, 1 for them. 3 for me, 1 for them.
Your Portuguese accent's horrible, to say the least.
I never said it was any good, don't worry.
Yeah, but your impression's horrible. But anyway, we're talking about Erling Haaland next season potentially going to Manchester United. Now, look, we've seen the rumours, right? We're going to talk about it, right? We're going to talk about it. We're going to see.
You Manchester lot love public torture. You absolutely love torture. Listen, you lot are that 50-year-old man that loves being beaten up by that woman that he pays for. You lot pay to get whipped and chained and beaten and kicked by a woman. That is literally Manchester United. If you do business after what you've seen Mino Raiola do for the last 4 or 5 years, if you get into bed with Mino Raiola one more time, my lack of sympathy is done. I am done with giving you any sympathy over Raiola, right? The first time, yes, you got rid of him because Fergie, believe it or not, Fergie looked to Raiola and went, fuck that. Go away. I don't want you. Then Mourinho brought him back and the public torture happened a little bit more and it continued and it grew and it grew and it grew. If you do that and you bring another one of his clients to Old Trafford, I have zero sympathy for you when, and I bet you when, Mino Raiola starts talking in the press going, Erling's not too happy at Old Trafford, he's a bit upset. If you do this public torture again, as Jay says, dominatrix settings. That is what you're doing if you get Riola back. Dominatrix, mate. You love it.
Look, moving swiftly on, like I said, so we're talking about Chelsea. They're stopped their interest on Haaland. They're moving to Lukaku. They're going to spend 130 million roughly on him. The deal's nearly done, so that'll be very interesting on that. City, I mean, they spent fucking 100 million on fucking Lanzini fucking from Love Island. So I mean, that fucking they can have that fucking hell, fucking rat. But anyway, look. So here's what I'm saying, right? Would you like to take Haaland next season? And how much do you think? Well, look, he has a release clause next season. We all know he has.
Well, I was just about to say the price is a set price.
Right, yeah.
You twat. But do you think the question you want to ask is how much are you willing to pay Mino Raiola and his father Alfie Haaland? Let's have a little discussion here. How much would you like to pay them? Because that's the question. That's the real. Oh, and FYI, because you're getting him cheaper, Erling's gonna want a bit more money for wages, and I believe he was asking for about 350 from Chelsea. So you're looking at near on 400, 450.
Sure. Look, we can resolve it, right? We can give him a happy meal every day. He'll be great with that. Anyway, look. So would you take him, Ciaran? And yeah.
The thing is that whilst I've taken Niall's persuasive arguments into consideration, I feel like Haaland is a quality player. You can't take that away from him. He is a quality striker.
So for the people watching, Ciaran does like dominatrix. We have worked that out now.
Well, thanks for putting that out there. Listen, that's his next my name. That's a tag I've got now. That's a tag. But I think
Mino Riola's whipping boy.
Oh my god! I tell you what. This is. I'm glad I came on tonight.
Yeah.
But no, the thing.
He's a guest.
The thing. No, but also,
that's how you treat your guests. Jesus Christ!
Ask Mino Raiola how he treats his guests.
No, thank you. I'm good.
Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer Ollie hasn't recovered from his last public beating he got.
Well, that's a show for a different website, I reckon. But I think in terms of Haaland, quality player, obviously quite young. Obviously, someone mentioned the comments there. I think it was Don mentioned in the comments. He was obviously Ollie's Ollie coached him at Mulder. Yeah. They've got that connection, so it could happen. There's no reason why it couldn't happen. Of course, and I think the Raiola thing is a bit of a drawback. To be fair, you don't really want to be dealing with him.
Or his father.
Or his father, of course. Yeah. It's not an ideal situation.
It would be really awkward, to be fair. Yeah.
They don't come as a gruesome twosome. They come as a lovely triple threat. They come as a lovely little group of them. That you got two vultures and one footballer. I just want to confirm Alfie and Mino are the vultures.
Actually, we'll just give Roy Keane just a.
Also, I'm going to ask one weird question, and you're going to laugh because it does bring up Greenwood. What is the fucking point of spending all of that money, right? Because let's be fair, you are going to be paying Mino Raiola and Alfie Haaland a lovely sum of money to go get their son. Right, that's already guaranteed. You're paying basically 2 transfer fees. Once you add into the fact that Alfie's probably getting 40 million off you, Mino's probably looking at around about the same. Right, so you're basically paying 2 lots of 80 million to go get Haaland, right? And then you add in his wages, which is going to be north of 300. You can guarantee that. What is the fucking point? When you've got your own generational talent sat right at Old Trafford, who is earning a third. No, RJ, think about it. Is earning a third. No, the question is, how much does Haaland improve your team compared to if you save that money, go get yourself a world-class DM or a fucking world-class right back or a world-class goalkeeper? Maybe you go get Jan Oblak. Maybe De Gea is done. Maybe one minute. Maybe
Oblak is older than De Gea.
RJ, just think of it fucking logically. It doesn't have to be, I'm using him because he's a world-class player, you donut. Right?
Yeah, but like,
try and think.
future.
Try and be less black. Try and be less black and white. Right? Have a bit of an imagination. Think about what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah.
So save that money and invest that in 2 or 3 good positions. So you go get yourself a backup to Bruno. You go get yourself a world-class DM. You go get a right, RJ. Think about this. Right. Think about this logically. Okay, if he is a backup, go get yourself a world-class DM. Go get yourself a world-class right back.
Okay.
Go do all of that. Fix the holes in your team instead of putting a hole that if you do bring in Haaland, what's he going to get? Yeah, he might get 5 or 10 more goals than Greenwood, but realistically, he's going to have the same issue that Werner's. He's going to have the same issue Werner's got, which is the service that he's going to have. The service he's going to have from your midfield, because don't forget, if you bring in Haaland, you're getting no one else. You're getting no one else. You can crack that idea out. You won't. And also, might I also add, you're going to have a very pissed off Greenwood because he's going to see his starting lineup chance at 1 minute. You're going to have a very pissed off Greenwood who's going to see his chances of starting in that lineup done. Completely gone. He ain't getting in over Sancho, won't get in over Haaland. So you're potentially then going to have Greenwood turn around and utter the words that he wants to leave, to which what does that do? That Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Because what if Mason... Hold on. What if Mason doesn't want to leave the... Hold on. You say that, but if he ain't going to be starting at Old Trafford, he wants to play, right? What's to say, and he doesn't want to leave England, what's to say he doesn't just go to a Chelsea or a Man City or a Liverpool where he does get in? Or if you do refuse to sell him there, what's the chances of him running his contract down and going for free? And then your rivals benefiting from that. You have to think about this logically. Yes, you get a world-class Haaland, but Greenwood is on a trajectory to be world-class. Everyone in world football knows that. How many times have you heard a Shearer or a Lineker or a Rio or a Gary all say the exact same things about Mason Greenwood, which is this kid is onto things and he's going to reach the very highs of this. So you're buying a world-class player and you're spending so much money to bring him when you have your own talent that if you work with, if you generate the things around him, if you work with him, will hit the same trajectory, maybe not at the same time, but will hit that trajectory at the time he's prime, in his prime years. What's the point of wasting all that money? What is the point of wasting all that money and pissing off your own young player, right? Who then at the end of it just turns around and goes, do you know what? You've got Sancho, you've got Haaland, you've got Rashford. I can't get in. I want to go. And then if that happens, what do you do? Because you will be then absolutely laughed at, especially if Greenwood walks out a year before and then Haaland goes off for a free because Mino Raiola wants another payday. Have you thought of that?
The thing is, though, I see your point. I do see a point about annoying Greenwood, whatever. And to be fair, obviously, ideally, ideally, obviously, Greenwood's come through the academy. If there's any player I want to go on to future heights and win Ballon d'Ors and stuff, it's Mason Greenwood, obviously. But at the same time, if you look at it from the other side, if you had Haaland, Sancho, and Rashford, that's a pretty young front three that could potentially see you go for a long, long time. Yeah, Haaland's 21 years old.
Mate, people talk about Mino Raiola. Mino ain't letting him stick at a club for a long time. It won't happen because Mino Raiola, after 4 or 5 years, this guy be like, payday. I need another payday. You're my star. We're moving. That will happen. Well, you saw it with Ronaldo. Went to United, then fucked off to Real Madrid. Haaland is not going to go from Dortmund and then see out his career at whatever club he goes to next. It will merely be, we're staying here for 4 or 5 years, then we're leaving, we're going to get more money elsewhere. It's a ridiculous thing to go and get Haaland, especially if you get Haaland, you're not getting anyone else out the window. So if you haven't sorted your DM crisis out this window, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You're then bringing in Haaland, to which you're not going to go get another one because that's 160 million out of your bank. So you're still going to have that midfield of Fred and McTominay for a second or third fucking season. 3 seasons. And the question is, how bad are they compared to how good is Haaland? And where's the balance of how much that improves? Very little. Because Haaland won't get the service because that midfield is still shite. So, yes, I can see the lure of getting Haaland. What's the fucking point? A complete waste of money, and you got Mino Raiola. It's a complete waste of time.
I mean, no.
If he didn't have Mino Raiola, it would be one of the best signs you could make. His agent destroys it, I'm afraid. Absolutely destroys it. If he didn't have Mino Raiola, I'll be like, yeah, go get Haaland. So there's a good chance any other agent probably lets him decide. Mino Raiola, we all know. You've had first-hand experience of Mino Raiola, right? RJ, what do you call Mino Raiola?
Many things.
Exactly. So why do it again? What's the point? There is no point. Especially if you keep Pogba for another contract. That's 2 players you've got of Riola's on your side. Not my life. How many problems do you want at one club? Poor Ollie. That's the question you've got to be asking yourselves. Poor Ollie. Having to deal with him twice. It's not worth the hassle. Let him fuck off to Madrid or something. Let Raiola piss them off. Generate your own talent. It works better for you. And that way you can go sort out your midfield any chances.
All right, so finally, this is the last prediction. Obviously, since Ciaran, this is your first time on the United Show for this season 2. We're going to go predictions. So predictions this year. First off, do you see United winning anything this year?
Yeah, I do. To be honest with you, I do.
Okay.
I think the fact we did get so close in the Europa League. I know, obviously, we were kind of the favourites in that competition, but we obviously got close to that. I just feel like with the signings we've made, Varane coming in, Sancho coming in, but hopefully, fingers crossed, a CDM coming in, that will tip us over the edge and we'll at least win one of the competitions. But you have to have, in every competition, you've got to have a bit of luck along the way. I don't think there's many teams in cup competitions that don't have some form of luck. So hopefully that falls for us. Yeah, of course, well, exactly that. I was just thinking that. But that's the thing.
Sorry, there's something on my throat, lad. Sorry, apologies. I'll get to it next week.
It's all about the draws, but I think realistically,
you say we that, could they did nearly get chucked out the FA Cup by Cheltenham Town. I just want to say that out loud.
Oh, I know,
they did.
Yeah.
That is very
Cheltenham played well. Cheltenham played well that day as well.
They did. But yeah, no, I agree with it. So, do you see the league this year, or do you see next year? What's your?
Well,
surely the question depends on what midfield you've got.
No. Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. Well, okay. I feel like, for me, if we don't bring in a proper defensive midfielder, I can see us challenging but not winning it. I can't see us because you look at Man City's team. They didn't need to add Grealish, but they did. They just didn't need to do that, but they just added him anyway. For fun. Liverpool obviously got Van Dijk.
Pep didn't need to break Villa's hearts by doing that, but he did.
Exactly. He just exactly. He basically said today, kind of codedly, he basically said that if he hadn't got Grealish, he would have gone for Messi as well. I'm kind of glad they went for Grealish at that point. But in the end of the day, I think there's a chance we could win it. There's obviously a chance because we've got a very good squad. But I just think with that midfield plug, the hole in midfield not plugged properly. I just think we can put in a challenge, and I think we'll put in a better challenge than we did last season. But I just don't think we'll have enough. But who knows? If we sign a good CDM, I think potentially we could go all the way. But if injuries help us as well, if we're not hampered by injuries, of course. But I think to be positive, I'd say there's no reason why not. But at the same time, in my heart of hearts, I just think Man City probably are better than us right now.
He in code, he just looks at Fred and McTominay and goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Genuinely, but the worst bit is, it's the most important part of the pitch is where you actually really are suffering right now. If you had that issue at right back or left back, you can sort of get through it. Even heck as centre back. Fuck me, Tuchel play with Bucking Christensen and Rudiger, which ain't great, but he was able to plug that because he put the right people around him. The midfield is where all of the action is for all of the big teams. The midfield is the action part. It's where the ball gets progressed from back to front, from front to back. Like, you have all of that. It's like the biggest and the most important part of your team is where you are currently holding. So the analogy is your boat is currently got a great big fucking hole. And instead of repairing that, what you've done is put a colander on the outside to try and keep the water from flying out. Right? That is what you've done. You've put a colander, strapped a colander to the outside of a boat. It's not good. Even a Neves isn't necessarily the best thing to do. Right? It's not necessarily. It's a better plug. It's a much better plug. Don't get me wrong. Right? You've gone from a colander to a temporary fix. But I still think in a few years' time, you're going to be looking at that midfield area again and going, we really need to do something about it. And that's where maybe James Garner fits in. Right? Maybe long-term, that is the plug that United are looking for. And until then, a temporary plug of a Neves does work very well, especially considering what Neves is, 30 million, 35?
35
you're not
million,
looking at, you're not looking at breaking the fucking bank for him. And you've structured the Varane and Sancho deal very well as well. So you do need to bear that in mind. So if I'm United, and I'm gonna say something even more outrageous, which is RJ's already. You might as well put your head in your hands now, RJ. It saves time. Which club is currently going through more financial difficulties?
I know this already. I can dispute myself.
You could. Which club is going through more financial difficulties than you care to imagine? Barcelona.
Just here, I'll give you a clue.
And they can't get rid of any player. No one wants Griezmann because he's too expensive, too much money.
They couldn't sell Messi.
Right? They can't sell anyone, right? And they can't register new players. Why are United not just going, here's 50 million, we'll take De Jong? What have you got to lose? Because you don't have De Jong, do you? Right? He's not a United player. So what's the point of not just going, okay, well, we'll test it. We'll see how desperate they really are. It's 50 million. You never know. They might go, 50 million ain't good. Give us 60 and you can have a deal. And then you're walking out of the Camp Nou with De Jong for 60 million. Who plugs that midfield for years. And he's Dutch, isn't he? Dutch connections with Donny. Hey,
but what I say, what is the difference? What would be the difference in Donny van der Beek to De Jong in the midfield?
For a minute, I thought you were about to ask the difference between Fred and McTominay and De Jong. I was about to scream at you. I was about to tell everyone to
What's
mute.
a difficult question? I wonder what the answer is.
No, I don't think there'll necessarily be an improvement in Van der Beek. I just think it maybe makes Van der Beek a little bit, he has his mate there. He's got a mate there. And also, if you do sell Pogba, like let's say you really don't want to give Pogba 400 grand a week, and you do want just that cancer of Mino Raiola tore away from your club, then maybe Frankie de Jong, Donny van der Beek with Bruno in front of them. Again, you look around the league. Does anyone have a better one than that? You've got Donny, who is a brilliant defensive midfielder. Donny, who, might I add, really does pass the ball very well. Brilliant progressor of the ball. With Bruno, I don't need to sit here and say what Bruno's bloody good at, do I? So, if I'm United, I'm like, fuck it, we'll test out these Spanish bastards. Here's 60 million, or here's 50 million. It might bring them to the table. And if you can get Barcelona to the table for Frankie de Jong for 50 million, fuck me, you're laughing. You are laughing your heads off. Especially considering apparently, transfers, Sancho, you're paying that, is it 18 million up front? For Sancho,
72 million up front, and then there's a lot of add-ons for the next few years.
No, you've structured that deal. It's not 72 up front, mate. You've structured that over 5 years.
72, and then the Varane is.
No. With Sancho, you've structured that, mate. You've actually done that in installments. You don't realize you've done that in installments, mate. Your first installment is of £18 million, mate. Not joking, right? So you've saved a shit ton of money from an outlay because of that's how you've been able to be in this position where you could look to get more players in because you've not financially fucked yourselves. Which for United and Matt J and Woodward, you remarkable. Fucking send Myrtle to Barcelona with a checkbook of £50 million. Who'd be like, Dion?
And plus,
Barcelona right now, they might take that because what other options have they got?
They kind of have to, yeah.
Because La Liga aren't letting them release players. They're not able to terminate contracts because they're currently in a lawsuit with one that they tried to do that with. So if I'm United, I'm being a cheeky little bastard. I'm ringing up Barcelona going, Frenkie de Jong, 50 million? Right now, Barcelona are probably looking at a finance sheet going, we can deal with a Frankie replacement later, right? Money. Yes, cool. Thank you. Bye-bye, Frankie.
Yeah, they better watch out for fucking Pedri because he'd be going in a few seasons if that's the case as well.
That's the danger. That's the danger Barcelona are in, though.
Yeah.
That is the danger because
this,
if you can't get rid of the high earners, teams like Uniteds and Cities and all of the others are going to look at the likes of Pedri's, Frenkie de Jong, and Ansu Fati. If you can't really if you can't get rid of your high earners, you've got to get rid of some people to balance the books. People are going to look at your better players and go, we'll just take him. Here's your money. Thank you. They will do that.
So, we'll do some quick fire questions just to end it off. Ciaran, right? Top goal scorer for United. Who do you think? Who do you think will get it?
I'll tell you what. In terms of players that get you know what, Bruno Fernandes again.
Okay. Assists.
Bruno Fernandes again. Fernandes as well.
Okay. Player of the year.
I disagree with that one.
This is quick fire.
Sancho's a shout.
Not thinking, right?
I think player of the year. Look, I'm gonna say Harry Maguire.
Okay, I like your thinking, and that's my one as well. Yeah, young player of the season.
It's Mason Greenwood, a young player still. He's 19.
Oh yeah, I'd say so.
All right, I'm gonna go Mason Greenwood.
Okay, and what would be the last one? And yeah, Ollie to have it at the end of the season to be still employed by Manchester United.
You could have asked who's going to be your goalkeeper by the end of the season. That would have been a better question.
No, I'm not.
Loads of options there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, yeah, I do.
Come on. Yeah, what? Sorry.
Yeah, I reckon he will be.
Okay, perfect.
You end the season with Lee Grant in goal.
Fuck it, why not? For the vibes, you know what I mean? All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Niall, where can they find you first and foremost? We'll start with you, and then
just on this channel normally.
Jesus, arrogance. And Ciaran, where can they find you, mate?
Read the Weekly on Twitter and on YouTube as well.
Yeah, do check them out, lads. All right, guys, and you can find me this year for White Jaguar. You know how it is, and also on this channel. To be fair, I kind of held I pulled my way on this channel. To be fair, so anyway, that has been me, lads. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week, 10 p.m. on a Friday, doing the night show. So thank you so much, and I will see you soon.